Powered by Covenant Christian Center. 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 Powered by Covenant Christian Center.
But basically, you are able to reach more people within your networks, and you would all agree that the things we're hearing today would have a larger impact as more and more Nigerians hear about them. So please don't be selfish with the things you're hearing today, and make sure as many people as you have contact with actually hear the things that you are hearing as well. So welcome once again. Thank you very much for coming.
All phones are on silent. Very wonderful morning to you.
Did you test these mics?
1st of May 2018. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's broadcast of the Platform Nigeria, coming to you live from... Sorry, I will not move again. Because I know as I move, your camera changes.
That's a tough ask.
Okay, there's a girl behind the camera. How do I look? Let my vanity kick in. How do I look? Oh, thank you. A man will not tell you the truth. But we girls, we have each other's back. How do I look? Let me remember my lines. Don't talk to me. Designed to facilitate growth in the areas of personal
All the
capacity
things that
and
my ears have
productivity.
heard.
Designed to capacitate growth. Personal sector effectiveness. Please, what do you say again? Private sector leader.
You always have that.
Good morning, a very good morning to you as I welcome you to another edition of the Platform Nigeria, coming to you live from the Covenant Place, Igomu. It's a beautiful morning today, Tuesday, the 1st of May, 2018, and I want to specially thank you for tuning in and joining us on today's broadcast and this edition of the Platform. Now, if this is your first time tuning in and you're wondering what the platform is about, the platform is a not-for-profit initiative of the Covenant Christian Center. It is designed to facilitate personal productivity and also to help national development of our great nation, Nigeria. And so to continue in this mandate, 11 years on, we have decided to make the theme of today's platform Get Involved. On today's edition, we are talking about getting involved in the political process of our nation, how myself and yourself, leaders, citizens, can ensure that the kind of nation that we want Nigeria to be, we do what we can in our different spaces to add our quota to our great land. And so once again, thank you for tuning in. This is the Platform Studio. We'll be going soon to the Platform Plenary, where we'll be looking at the speakers of today. We have a lineup of interesting speakers that will be speaking to us on today's edition. We have Professor Kingsley Mogalu, Mr. Fela Durotoye, Mr. Leke Alder, Dr. Charles Omole. We also have Mrs. Shola Salako Ajulo. Also, we have the keynote speaker today, His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and other lineup of speakers. So it's definitely going to be an interesting time. You do not want to tune anywhere. With me today in the studio, I have three special guests who will be discussing what the speakers will be talking about. So we'll be coming back from time to time and you'll be seeing our faces. All of them are to my right. The first is Mr. Obinia Abajwe. He's a private sector leader. The second is Mrs. Indidi Umuneli. She's a social entrepreneur. And last but not the least, Mr. Wemi Atigbi. He's a communications consultant. You are all welcome to the platform panel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that two of you are used to being here with me. Mr. Wemi, this is your first time, but we'll have an amazing time with you today. So today's theme is Get Involved. Now, when you hear that theme, what do you think?
Well, I think really that participation is critical to the evolution and success of any venture or activity, all right, so that it's exciting to be able to get people to understand what it takes to participate and what they need to do as individuals, both the knowledge and the activity. I'm excited.
Fantastic. Ndidi.
Well, a wise person once said that the highest office in the land is the office of the citizen.
Fantastic.
And in our case, every citizen of Nigeria has a high office. Their role is to get involved in the political process and to determine the future of their land, not just at the presidential level, the state level, and the local government level. And it's time the citizens of Nigeria wake up to their high office. And so I'm excited about what the platform will do to awaken this presence in each of us, in our hearts and in our minds.
Thank you.
Okay, and as you said, the responsibility of the citizen cannot be underscored, and involvement is absolutely critical. I think more than anything else, especially now when we have certain challenges of focus in the country. And because of this, I believe that the platform right now is extremely relevant in terms of the theme today, getting involved.
Fantastic. And I'll take a quote from Pastor Pojimade, the convener of the platform, where he said, "Nation building is the most important assignment of this generation. We all have a work to do. We all have something that we can do. Even just making leaders accountable, like they said, knowing your local government chairman, being able to go and say, why are the streets like this? Why is water not coming? Those little things matter a lot. And so today we are talking about community engagement, active citizenship. There's a role that you can play, there's a role that I can play. And so I believe that this platform is going to be one of the most impactful, inspiring, and empowering. And do tune in, stay with us, call your friends and family and tell them, come and watch the platform live, coming to you on Channels Television. So now we'll be queuing into the main hall where we would have the opening address by Pastor Poju Oyemade. Thank you once again.
Your DP, but and then just go beyond even just getting your PVC. It's actually getting involved in your community, getting involved in party politics, getting involved in decision-making processes at your level, and not just talk, but just get into the action. Because the decisions that are made by government and people in authority affect our lives. And we can't sit down and complain about what people are saying and doing if we're not involved.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Actually plug any gaps there.
Well, I'm hoping that in the days to come, if we continue to rehash the message, because I think what we need to do is to speak and continue to get people to hear the message. Over the years, we have abandoned ship in terms of leaving other people to sort out Nigeria. So I think the responsibility now is for us to be deliberate about nation building, because nation building is a process and it involves engagement. One by one, each person has that responsibility. So it's something that I'm hoping this program will continue to get us involved. It is getting a lot more people involved, and we are getting there, but it's not strong enough. I would lie if I do not admit that over the years we have created a country that has made us a turn-by-turn nation. So people are waiting for their turn to be part of what shouldn't be. But programs like this begin to keep us aware, and eventually it's hoping that we will have people that become watchdogs of the other person, because we need to get the message out clearly that this is what the nation has to be. And when you have that in place, people will begin to understand. Look, we hear a lot of figures, trillion, billion. People don't even know what those figures mean anymore. I mean, I don't even know what a billion means, but when you begin to make it clear that this is what a billion will achieve, this is what a billion can do, I begin to watch the other person. We begin to see ourselves because we also know what it will do for us. So it's a conscious and deliberate thing that we mustn't get tired of. I'm getting tired, but the truth is we must not get tired of getting that message across that we all are responsible for nation building and not government. Government, it sounds like a cliche, but we are government. So we need to get involved and make sure that we make it happen. It's a project that we must not abandon, and Nigeria is going to be great again.
Thank you so You're welcome to the platform Nigeria. We are live at the Covenant Place, Igomu, Lagos. Very quickly, I'll bring up our first speaker, who is the senior pastor of Covenant Christian Center and the convener of the platform Nigeria, Pastor Kwoju Oyemade.
All right, you may be seated quickly. All right, this is just for 10 minutes, just to do an introduction into this particular edition of the platform. This is the 11th year of us holding this, all right? And I personally believe, deep down on the inside of me, that this one is going to be the most impactful so far. I really believe it on the inside of myself. Now, let me first of all say this, that at the platform, all right, and that's why it's called the platform, because it's a platform, but it's a platform where we primarily promote ideas. And the idea we're promoting on this particular edition is the need for citizens to get involved. And when we talk about citizens getting involved, we are really targeting a particular sector of the Nigerian population, that we believe that their involvement in the affairs of this country, right, will bring about a dramatic change. Now, the concept that we had behind this is a psychological concept, and I want to describe this, called learned helplessness. And this is something that when it occurs in an individual or a group of people, all right, it's actually a strategy, psychological strategy, that you could induce it in people, and then those people, they demand, very low standards from people that lead them. Now, learned helplessness describes the psychological state of a person or a group of people as a result of past experiences of defeat and failure. For example, I see people that tell me that, so why do you do the platform? Why bother? That will it change anything? Now, which means your past experience of defeat and failure leads them to being, all right, brings them into a reoccurring state where once they're exposed to a similar situation, they think they cannot do anything to change it. They have come to believe that they are powerless to change their environment. And that's the state of learned helplessness. Now, this can be portrayed best by an experiment that was carried out with a particular fish, which is called the piranha fish. And I even looked it up today, right, on YouTube just to study the fish. And this was a fish that it's so strong that they put woven steel, and it cut woven steel, right, with its teeth. Now, it's predatory in nature. In the ocean, it feeds on other types of fish. So what they did was that they took this piranha fish and put it in an aquarium. And then they dropped it in a larger one, so it was glass all around, it could see through. And then they put the other type of fish that it will feed on, all right, in seconds. And so it could see the fish on the other side in the larger aquarium, being that it was placed in a smaller one and it's invisible. So it started attempting to go for the fish, all right, to go for those other ones. Started attempting, but kept hitting an invisible barrier. In other words, the walls of that aquarium there kept pushing back on it. As it kept attempting, it started getting tired. The people doing the experiment started pouring normal fish food for it to feed on. It refused to do that because it feeds on flesh. Kept going. After some time, it got so tired that it adjusted and started feeding on the regular fish food. They did that for 6 weeks, and then the revelation came. They removed the piranha fish out of the small aquarium and dropped it into the larger aquarium where the other fish were. But it started swimming with the other fish to feed on fish food. In other words, by repeated failure, they had changed the psyche of that particular fish. It was no longer attempting for what it was born to do, but had now gone to a much lower level. And what happens is, when people keep trying and keep trying to change their country, and keep trying to change their country, and there is repeated failure, after some time, they adjust to mediocrity. Any system of government, they will accept that system of government. If things are not working, they just say, anybody who is trying to do something about it, they'll tell you, why are you wasting your time? We tried this 10 years ago. We tried this in 1994. We fought June 12, nothing changed. We tried this here, and they keep going at that. So learned helplessness is a behavior typical of an animal, and this occurs where the subject endures repeatedly painful or otherwise difficult situations, which it's unable to escape from or avoid. After such an experience, the organism often fails to learn or accept escape or avoidance in new situations where such behavior will likely be effective. In other words, the organism learns that it is helpless. It has come to learn that in situations where there is a presence of difficulty, and has accepted that it has lost control and thus gives up trying. Such organism is said to have acquired learned helplessness. Therefore, what we're saying is that the power to change the course of this nation lies not only in you pointing to the leader, but the truth is there is an office, all right, a role for leaders, but an enlightened and engaged, all right, citizenry there can make great impact in transforming this nation. We could say, in other words, citizens who are educated and actively participating in the political affairs of their nation, the system through which good leaders are elected and held accountable. If the enlightened ones in our society get into a place where they believe they can effect a change, all right, or they cannot affect a change because of their past experiences, then those who want to control the affairs of this nation for purely selfish reasons have actually won. That is the defeat of an entire generation who, though qualified and able, like that piranha fish that had the ability to cut. In fact, they took a strand from a bulletproof, all right, vest, and it cut it immediately with its teeth. That was the ability that it had, but it had adjusted, all right, to feeding on fish food. So, the entire generation, though they be qualified and able, they feel helpless to change anything. This platform, we are therefore speaking directly to that generation. We are saying that there is a way to get involved and engaged. That if historically nothing has changed when we once tried, it doesn't mean that our future must be surrendered to our past experiences. And when we are talking about getting engaged, I'm sure a lot of speakers here will deal with this. It is more than just, now this is good, but it's more than just picking up PVCs for an election, right? The lowest form of power in the democratic process is casting your vote on election day. The truth about the matter is this, that a delegate in a national political party, his vote is worth about 100,000 PVCs on election day, because they have the power to choose who you will choose from. So if they give you the option, and I'm not saying in any sense of being rude, but if they give the option of a dog and a cat, then you with your PVC can only choose either a dog or a cat. So we must get enlightened, all right? So this getting engaged, what we're talking about here today is more than collecting your PVC. PVC is good, all right? But you can still fall prey and use the PVC and nothing changes. We are talking about a way in which you enter into the system in order to bring about significant changes in this nation. If the educated, young, energetic, enlightened people get involved, things are going to change. All right? One of the people going to speak today, and this is what provokes people to get involved, a gentleman who decided, listen to the story. He decided that he was going to build a road. He pastors a church, he said, let's build a road, right? And apply to the local government to build a road. It's a good thing. And then they said they will write him and give him permission to build it. He waited first month, no letter. Second month, no letter. Third month, finally he went to the local government chairman and said, what's the problem? They said, why don't you give us something before we allow you? He said, you mean I want to do something for the community and I have to bribe to do this? And he got up and said, I'm going to do something about you people that are here. Now, many times, many of us face things that should provoke us into getting engaged. But we simply say it cannot change, right? And that's what we want to look at today. Now, finally, I will close with a particular story and particular words of somebody. I think I've closed all of my opening speeches in the last 3 editions of the platform with these. And it's very powerful. And people should think about this. And it's the words of a political columnist, this is in America, and a consultant psychiatrist, a medical doctor trained psychiatrist. And his name is Charles Krauthammer. And he captures this thought best about the power of politics. And what he was saying was that no nation can grow and develop until one generation in that country masters politics. Once one generation masters politics and change the politics of that particular country, then the coming generations can build on it. But if there is no generation that has mastered the art of politics, there can be no real development in that country. And he's a trained Harvard doctor. And he became paralyzed waist downwards at his second year in Harvard while engaging in recreational diving. And in his most recent book, Things That Matter, he said it was going to be a collection of his writings about everything but politics, because he's a political commentator. Things mysterious and beautiful, or just odd, he said. His working title was There is More to Life Than Politics. Listen to what I'm saying. He said there is more to life than politics. But in the end, he couldn't. For the simple reason, he said he left psychiatry for journalism. While science, medicine, art, poetry, architecture, space, sports, number theory, and all things hard and beautiful promise purity and elegance, they are fundamentally subordinate, and in the end, they bow to the sovereignty of politics. Politics, the crooked timber of our communal lives, dominates everything, because in the end, everything high and low, most especially high, lives or dies by politics. You can have the most advanced cultures, get your politics wrong, he said, and everything stands to be swept away. He went further to say, every generation has come to know that after you have mastered all disciplines, There is one more thing you will need to know on the earth. And he said it is politics. And that because of its capacity. When by then it says it allows all things around it to flourish in its capacity. All right? But when bad, it allows all things to wither. Today, the problem in nations is not whether there are educated people who know right things to do. It is whether they have gotten their politics right. Nations and organizations commit suicide by getting their politics wrong. Politics is the moat, they say, the walls beyond which lie the barbarians. Fail to keep them at bay, and everything will burn. It has been said by historians that the only power comparable as destructive to man as politics has been nature. In other words, it's the only thing that can be compared to politics is you have a flood in an area, outbreak of fire that burns the entire city down, but you want to look for something that destroys people outside that, it's their politics. Nations were ruined and millions died, he said, in the last century due to wrong politics. The most considered and balanced statement of politics, the place of politics, he said, in the hierarchy of human disciplines came from John Adams. He said, I must study politics and war, that my sons may have the liberty to study mathematics and philosophy, geography and national history, naval architecture and agriculture, in order to give their children a right to study painting and poetry, music and architecture. In other words, if you go to school and the politics is wrong, your education will count for nothing. One generation, we've seen it in this country, all right? The amount of consultant medical doctors, Nigerians, is in the thousands, all right? Thousands, all right? I landed one time in Dallas. The taxi told me, he said, there's no Nigerian in this place that is poor. I will take you to where their professionals are. He said they're buying up the buildings, all right? So, Adam saw clearly that politics is the indispensable foundation for all things elegant and beautiful. The deepest purpose of politics is to create the conditions for the cultivation of other things. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Pastor Koju. Very quickly, I'll bring up our next speaker. He is Professor Kingsley Moghalu, and he will come up. He will come up right after this short video.
I should wait. Okay, I should wait. Huh?
Professor Kingsley Moghalu. Professor Moghalu is a professor of practice in international business and public policy at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University. He is a global leader widely known for his significant contributions across the academia, economic policy, banking and finance, entrepreneurship, philanthropy, law and diplomacy. Notable among his several appointments was his service with the United Nations from 1992 to 2008, and also served as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria from 2009 to 2014, which he led to the execution of extensive reforms in the Nigerian banking system after the global financial crisis. Professor Moghalu is the recipient of several honors, including the Nigerian National Honor of the Officer of the Order of Niger, OON, Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, FCIB.
Good morning. Thank you most dearly to the visionary Poju Oyemade and the Covenant Center for the boldness, for the courage, for the clarity of purpose that has led the platform to become Nigeria's most influential festival of ideas. I am amazed. I am impressed by the gathering this morning. I am almost intimidated, and that is a very rare thing. I am certainly inspired. Thank you for inviting me, Pastor Poch. I am here with a message for my countrymen and women. And my heart is warmed up and fired up. And as someone we're familiar with would say, fired up, ready to go. So let's get right into it. You see, we as Nigerians have become very good at managing. We just manage. We have become extremely good at it. And no one should blame us. Because to be honest, we have believed and believed so many times. And we have been disappointed so many times. We have invested hopes and dreams in people. We have gone on strike several times. We have marched on the streets on several occasions. We have shut down this country on many occasions. And yet, we have been disappointed sorely. So, we have learned to lower our expectations. And this is what Pastor Poju opened with. We have learned to lower our expectations. We have learned to dream in black and white when the rest of the world is dreaming in color. We have learned that we don't deserve nice things, that the things we truly want are not really possible. We have tried too many times and failed too many times that we believe that the problem is that we are actually trying too hard. Let's just manage what we have. Let's manage the recovery of 165 girls. It is impossible to get back all the 265. Let's manage a president who is not personally corrupt. It could have been worse. Let's manage the governor that promises a few flyovers but chases poor people out of our cities as if they are not human beings. That's the cost. That's the cost of development. Let's pretend that 60% of our federal revenue is not going to maintaining just 1 million people. After all, they haven't killed anyone. Let's manage the one we have, we tell ourselves, because we can't really get what we truly want. We are always very angry about many of our leaders. They take us for a ride. They jump out of police vehicles to mock our justice system. They insult our youth, calling them lazy. They call our youth lazy, but they spend more time in hospital than in their duty post. They insult our intelligence, claiming that they are fighting corruption. We are angry at them because they steal our agency and they steal our hopes. They steal our capacity to imagine. But do you know something? Do you know something? These leaders are laughing. They laugh. Why are they laughing? They are laughing because they know that no matter how angry we are, they are almost certain that nothing will change. They are sure because they know that in their heart of hearts and in our heart of hearts, we truly don't believe that Nigeria will change. They think we don't believe it. We are condemned by our conviction that this is how things will always be. These guys think this way. And so for them, the party will never be over. When I chose to run for the highest office in Nigeria, the presidency, I knew that this was my primary challenge. This manage it syndrome. An attitude that is simply sadness. We are sad, but we mask our sadness as worldly wisdom and cynicism. That way we appear to be sage, we appear to be wise, but we are just truly sad. How do you convince people to believe the only one thing that has ever been true in the history of humanity? That there is no force more powerful than a people who have decided that enough is truly enough. There is no more powerful force on earth than a people who have decided that we have had enough. We should have had enough by now. And I say that that's what I thought was my primary task when I decided to contest for the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have done it before. In 2011, we elected a president from a minority ethnic group. Nobody thought it was possible. In 2015, an incumbent president was defeated. The opposition came to power in a country where we believe that those who are in power can never be removed from it, except they die or they choose to leave. It has happened before. Over the past few months, I have been going around Nigeria. I've gone to Benue, I've gone to Kano, I've gone to Nnewi, I've gone to Abeokuta, and so many other places, talking to Nigerians to listen very carefully. And this is what I have heard. And I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is stopping us from getting the exact kind of leadership that we want. Nothing, nothing. We are ready, we are able, we are clear. We just don't believe that it can happen. We just don't believe that it is possible to get the kind of leadership we so desperately need in this country. That's what I heard in Kano. That's what I heard in Makurdi. That's what I heard in Ilorin. That's what I heard in Onitsha. That's what I heard in Oron. That's what I heard in Abeokuta. That's what I heard when I spoke to the young men who believe that there is no hope for Nigeria. And they must follow a man who promises them freedom if only they break away from this giant disappointment. They just don't believe it's possible. The platform speaks to the core of the Nigerian professional and elite class and the youth. And I have a message from the streets of Nigeria to you, that people desperately want a leadership that can deliver results for our economy. But they want someone who can convince them that they are not wasting their time, that they are not wasting their emotions. And they want to know that there are enough people like them across the country who will stand up to make it happen when the election season comes. Nigerians are not stupid, though. They know their problems. They know that it is not those who claim to be in APC today and in the PDP tomorrow. I know this because I have spoken to them, because I have listened to them. I have tried to understand why those before me have failed, and why it appears as if we don't know what we are doing. And so I have come to you with the same message that I have given these Nigerians wherever I have met them and spoken to them and listened to them. And that message is this: it is possible. It can happen. We need just 10 million people who believe this. Just 10 million. Give me 10 million people who believe that it is possible. Give me 10 million people who believe it can happen. Across this country, that's what we need. Just 10 million people who are ready and willing to take the risk, to open up their hearts, to put in the work. We need just 10 million people to make a difference today. That's the job. That's the job I have given myself. How do we find these Nigerians? How do we remind them that it is possible? And how do we get them to follow their hearts when election day comes? How do I get us to believe what I know for sure in my heart as I stand here before you today? That we can disgrace those who think that they own Nigeria. We can disgrace those who are the sharers of our national cake, those who believe that they are the custodians of the limits of our possibilities. We can disgrace them. We can send them into retirement that they have refused to go, although they are long overdue. Let us send the recycled politicians politely back to their villages. Are we not ashamed of what we manage? Are we not ashamed of the leaders that we have in this country? Are you billionaires not tired of a country that you have to explain and defend at the World Economic Forum? Are you young leaders not fed up with the embarrassment of a country that you have to keep explaining on Twitter, at global conferences, at global fora? You are, and I am. And so, this is my invitation to you. Join me in shocking this system. Join me in shaking this system to its very foundations. Join me in proving to ourselves that this thing that we have been saying for decades is possible. We need only 10 million people who believe in their hearts, with their votes, with their money, with their stepping into the streets to convince others to join them and vote. How do we do this? We start with just one number, just one. Find one. One person. Could be a friend, it could be your security guard, it could be the woman who sells fruit around the corner, it could be your work colleague. And tell them the truth about where Nigeria will be if they choose to vote against the status quo. The north of Nigeria can truly be like Dubai. The west can be like Germany. The southeast can be like Taiwan. The south-south can be like Norway. That is possible. Find one person and persuade them to be at the polls in February 2019. Be their polling body. Make sure they have their voter's card. Make sure they are aware of the issues and what is at stake. Then help them to be a polling body to someone else. In this country, our network is our most powerful marketing tool. So, it's time for us to use it. It's time for us to use it to become the +1 movement. It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Start with one. To join our 10 million movement, find us on social media. Find us via @+1morevote. @+1morevote. So that you can join our cell groups and our volunteer army at #+1morevote. 1 in numericals. across Nigeria. Because this is not a campaign platform, I will not go into details on the pillars of my plan for rebuilding our country. You can find that on our website, www.tobuildanation.com. www.tobuildanation.com. You can find it in my book, Build, Innovate, and Grow, BIG for short. So my mission here today is to insist that you must believe that what you think impossible is in fact possible. My mission here today is to ask you to ignore those who tell you that you are wasting your vote, who tell you that things cannot change, who tell you about the structure of the big politicians, who tell you about the war chest of the big politicians. Someone asked me on national television, what has gotten into you? A fine man like you decided to run for president. What's wrong? And I said, nothing is wrong. I just love my country. My heart bleeds for what's going on in this country. I could be doing something else. And I have been doing other things, but I can bear it no longer. I can't sleep well at night. In my own personal success, it's not enough. My personal success is not enough. I don't want to be that big man who is in the 4x4, drowning in the potholes, chatting away on the cell phone to pretend I am not inside the potholes. That's what we have in Nigeria. We grow rich, we grow successful, and we forget the common man. We forget the average citizen. In fact, our political class, our recycled political class, whom we must overthrow in a democratic revolution at the ballot box come 2019, all they exist for, the reason they exist is to make sure that our people remain poor, so that when we ride past in our big Jeeps and Land Cruisers, the people will be waving at us and their heart swells with pride. What a perversion of leadership. What a perversion of politics. Some people say, he would be good as president of our country, but will they allow him? They. So, will they allow him? So the question I ask, who is they? They is all of us, me and you. If we decide that it is possible, if we wake up from our slumber, it will happen. They only get to win if they win the battle over your heart and your mind. They claim to have extensive structure that no one else can beat. I have gone around this country. I have seen those structures. Those structures are human beings. Human beings like me and you at the ward level, at the state level, at the community level. We are building an alternative structure that will beat that structure. We need you to believe that the time has come. It is time. It is time to deliver Nigeria from dinosaurocracy, politics of dinosaurs, for dinosaurs, by dinosaurs. These dinosaurs have infected Nigerian society with ideas and attitudes that have long since been discredited. Our choice as a people is stark today as it has ever been. We have a choice between dinosaurs and deliverance. We have a choice between dinosaurs and deliverance. If we continue to be led by these dinosaurs and the people they endorse, the sunlight of our hopes for Nigeria will continue to be blotted out by the dark clouds of incompetence, corruption, economic illiteracy, and primitive tribalism. That's not what we want. It is time for all of you who are tired, like I am tired, it is time to make things happen. It is time for action. Time to pump fresh ideas into solving our problems. It is time to drive the point home that Nigeria is nothing without its people. And the people need to come first from now on. It is time to shake the table of Nigeria's current political class. It is time for us to get off the sidelines and come together as one to change the course of our history and our nation. There is no need staying in different camps if we can come together to shake up this system. If you're not one of those benefiting directly from this nyama-nyama version of Nigeria, then it is safe to say that you are one of those whose future is being mortgaged. Our time has finally come, ladies and gentlemen. Let us shock these dinosaurs with our resolve and our collective capacity. Let us take Nigeria back from those who believe that it belongs to them and their children. Let us be proud of Nigeria once and for all. And you better stop telling yourself that it cannot be done. God bless Nigeria. Let's get to work. Let's get to work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you very much.
You may be seated, please. Thank you very much, sir. You know, it's interesting because we're actually here celebrating Workers' Day because a group of people actually decided to believe in something. So definitely, along the lines of the conversations we've heard, say no to learned helplessness, it is possible, and believe. Our next speaker is Pastor Francis Adebayo. Speaking at the
Francis Adebayo. Francis Adebayo is the senior pastor of Harvest Place, Maryland, Lagos, whose vision is to raise exceptional leaders in all the walks of life. He is the convener of The View, a non-partisan convention with the aim of sensitizing the nation about politics. His passion to make a difference made him contest in the last election as a member of the House of Assembly, Lagos State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here this morning. A big thanks to Pastor Pojo and Pastor Toyin for giving me this platform. It's a panel. They went to the panel for the television broadcast, so they are not showing this live. So just wait 5 minutes, then you will introduce. Okay.
Personal success is not enough. All right. After a while, it doesn't make any sense. It amounts to nothing. So that's what's driving that action. And a question he leaves behind in my mind that I don't have the answer to, and I think is something that we really need to think about, is how do you get people to believe that the emotional commitment required to make a change actually is worth it? You know, and it's inspiring, really.
It is. It is. I know you liked that speech very much.
I did. I was clapping for parts of it. Yeah, I think for me, the concept of this management society that we have, where we accept the status quo as the standard, is what he challenged today in the hearts and minds of all of us. We cannot keep managing. Nigerians deserve better. We can be better. We can do better. And I think that's what he really raised in us, that anger. We felt his anger at this ability to just accept the status quo. And I think for me, the takeaway, and I hope everyone listening, the takeaway for us all is to say, in our own sphere of influence, how can we stop managing and start excelling? And start doing the best. And I love the fact that he said, get a buddy. You need to have a voting buddy, because each one find one. Yes. And together, if we just find one person who we can influence positively and hold their hand, that 10 million is what it takes to change the status quo. And it's possible within our lifetime to see it. And I also love the fact that he shared a vision of what our regions could be. Exactly. You know, the North could be Dubai. I love that, because it makes it vivid. You know, the South could be Norway. Norway is an oil-producing nation that in 100 years has turned itself around. I think that vision allows us to see what is possible if we do change our mindsets and commit to excellence in everything we do, including the elections.
Fantastic. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. What I perceived was the fact that we have invested too much in personalities rather than process and institutions. And this actually goes also to the heart of what Pastor Poju said about you know, the importance of politics, of getting it right. And getting politics right is not you know, restricted to those who are in Abuja. Getting it right and getting politics right is the responsibility of every citizen. You are called a citizen for a reason. You know, the responsibility of the citizen, basically what it means is that you have to respond to a larger collective vision, you know, and I think that's one of the powerful things that came to me, you know. Certainly. And yes.
Certainly, amazing. We have to quickly cut back now for the next speaker to go. But like you said, it is, and I like, he made us understand that politics is the fabric of society. So no matter what you achieve, if you get your politics wrong,
you have nothing.
You have nothing, really. Yes. Amazing. We have to go back to the hall now, where the next speaker, Pastor Francis Adebayo, will begin to speak. We'll be right back after.
Our next speaker is Pastor Francis Adebayo. He'll come up right after this short video.
Francis Adebayo. Francis Adebayo is the senior pastor of Harvest Place, Maryland, Lagos, whose vision is to raise exceptional leaders in all the walks of life. He is the convener of The View, a non-partisan convention with the aim of sensitizing the nation about politics. His passion to make a difference made him contest in the last election as a member of the House of Assembly, Lagos State.
Good morning again. It's my pleasure to be here this morning and to contribute to the conversation about how we can get involved in the development of our nation. There was a song while growing up as a Christian. I'm not a good singer, so just permit me to chant it. It says, since I was born, I have never seen the Lord. If we bring that song to Nigerian context, since I was born, up NEPA, I've never changed. The good roads have not been seen. I mean, you can start naming on and on. In fact, some things have gotten worse. Education, while I was growing up, was fantastic. As a student in a public school, you are great. Now our public school is nothing to be completely written off. Sport used to be great in this nation. I'm from Ogun State, so naturally I supported Abiola Babes. There was Leventis United. I grew up in Ibadan, so there is Shooting Stars. Up shooting. My boys are great football lovers. I asked them one day, which of Nigerian team do you even know? And the guy surprisingly asked me, is there any club in Nigeria? It has gotten that bad. I don't know if you've been to the National Stadium recently. I mean, shadow of itself. So, something is terribly, terribly wrong. And we are all living it, we're all seeing it all around us. I ask myself, what war have we won in Nigeria? War against indiscipline has not been won. War against poverty has not been won. War against malaria has not been won. War against the almighty corruption has not been won. And we can go on and on and on. The truth of the matter is, our leaders have failed us. I've gone through the coup speeches, for example, all the coups that have happened in the last 30 years or so, and something has remained consistent. Each leader that comes in wants to do something better than the predecessor. In fact, if I read some of the coup speeches to you, you'll be surprised, and you'll actually be wondering if we're still in those days. One of the coup speeches that got my attention was one that said, I think it was Abacha that gave us the coup that announced the overthrow of government. And I want to quote him. He said, health services are in shambles as our hospitals are reduced to mere consulting clinics without drugs and water and equipment. Our educational system is deteriorating at an alarming rate. This was in 1983. Unemployment figures, including the undergraduate, have reached embarrassing and unacceptable proportions. 1993. In some states, workers are being owed salary, arrears of up to 8 to 12 months. 1993. I mean, if I'm reading this today, you probably think, so, there's a huge, huge leadership deficit in our country. And we can go on and on. But I'm not here today to bash our leaders. I'm not here to talk about the failure of leadership. Because one dirty truth that all of us have refrained from is that we have all colluded in the results that our country have become. All of us here. Enough of casting the blames on our leaders. I was invited to speak in a place some time ago, and I asked about 2,000 people, young people there of voters' age. And I asked them how many of them have voters' card. If you don't have a voters card, you are one of our major problems. Major problem. I read the statistics to you of the last election, and it's quite alarming to see the number of people that did not register. All right, in 2015, we had over 67 million registered voters. That's in a country of over 180 million people. So only 67 million people registered. And guess what? On the day of the election, only 31 million people came out. That is less than half of the people that registered. Out of the people that got accredited on the day of the election, only 28 million people eventually came out. So some 2 million people got accredited, but did not vote. So you can see. So here today, I want to talk about us. Your own failure, my own failure. I got to that point in my life in 2013 that I said to myself, I cannot afford to be among the talkers alone. Enough of Facebook analysis. Let's get to the grassroots and do something. Of course, I'm a Christian. I need God's approval. So I went to God and prayed. And I got a permission in my spirit to get into the murky waters of politics. Can I say something to you? Politics is not as dirty as they've made us to believe. The truth is in the interest of the ruling class and the political class to keep us away from politics. Ask yourself, what are those things that they complain about in politics? Betrayals, lyings, killings. What have you? All of these things also happen elsewhere. It happens in the corporate rooms, in the boardrooms. It happens in families. It even happens in our religious houses. So why are you running away from politics? I got involved in 2015 general elections, and I just released a book that you can download on my website, francisadebayo.org. It's free. And the title of the book is So You Hate Politics. And in there, I put in all my experiences in the last election. So I would like to demystify politics to us this morning. I would like to say to you that our nation will get better if you and I will be involved. The truth of the matter is, our voter's card is powerful, but it's not as powerful as you think. Your voter's card would only elect the people the party have selected. So why don't we get involved in the selection of the candidates? Let's be real. I've been involved. Rigging is very real. But you know why rigging is real? Because you and I are not there. While I was contesting, I had a funny phone call. Few days to the elections, some guy that was sympathetic to my cause called me and said, "We want you to win this election. So we're going to help you." So we had this meeting around 11 p.m. So they told me how exactly the rigging will be done. And they also told me that they don't want anything from me. And that made it a little bit more tempting. Because these guys are ad hoc staff of INEC. I can't remember their faces. Let somebody come and ask me who they are. but that's the truth. I can't remember their faces that night. And they told me exactly how we were going to rig using the PVC. One PVC can actually be used for 50 people. Now, I analyzed the whole thing. Of course, I turned it down. Oh, I must be honest with you, it wasn't difficult turning down. Because the process was superb. I do not think there's any way anybody will have detected it. Because let me quickly explain it. Now, there are several people that didn't get their voter's card. So what I'm supposed to do in some of these selected polling units that these guys have carved out for me, that they would help me to rig. In every polling unit, a polling unit has a maximum of 500 voters. But we all know that not all the voters come out. So let's assume 300 people had come to get accredited. They will signal my guys to say, okay, we have 200 people. Now, bring 150 people. Let them use just one voter's card. They will we'll give them a code. Once they mention the code, we will know that this is we. So once the code is mentioned, we will quickly swipe the PVC. At that time, the agents are probably tired. So they are not, the polling party agents are probably tired and are not looking the way to ensure that the PVC gets probably swiped. So once we quickly do that, we put the ink on their hand. And lo and behold, they are ready to vote. And they were going to do that perfectly. All the ad hoc staffs on those polling units were already on my side. But I stopped it. I said to them, you know what? If you do this and I get into office, one day I'm going to stand up and I'm going to confess. Because my conscience will not take it anymore. But the point I'm making this morning is that can only happen because there are just few polling party agents in each of the polling units. So when you go to polling units, the last elections, you probably saw PDP party agents and you saw APC party agent. In some instances, maybe Labour Party. I'm talking of Lagos State now. And some pocket of other parties like that. But you will not find any other party that has the spread like these two parties. So if I'm contesting under, say, Party B, and I cannot afford, because there are no volunteers, because you are there in your houses, you have refused to join these parties. So we don't have volunteers that will stand for us at the polling units. So let's assume I have 5 votes. That 5 votes can be shared between those two parties. I'm telling you what is done. Because there's no party agent to defend my votes. So the guys will just look at themselves, you know what? This party has 5 votes. Let's share it, 2, 3, depending on who has the greater financial muscle. So rigging is real because you have chosen not to be involved. In 2011, I wasn't in partisan politics, but I supported a candidate. I went to their secretariat. I asked them, this is where I live. Do you have party polling agents there? They said they don't have. So by myself, I organized nothing less than 50 people. We're not party members, but I believed in that person. I wanted the person to win. So I organized party people to join for that time to be party agents. And we did a good job for that person. That is how to get involved. So, forget about ballot stuffing. They don't do ballot stuffing anymore. It was in the days of the UPN and HPN that they stuff ballot. That's not been done anymore. Violence on election days have also reduced. So I've described to you how our modern politicians rig elections. When you get involved, we also have more options to choose from. When we get involved, competitions will be stiffer, thereby producing the best. When you get involved, elected candidates will be forced to perform because they know you have been involved. Let's assume you've been involved, but your party lost. Now you are going to stand as opposition to make the party in power accountable. I think it's high time in this nation we need to set a standard minimum performance level for all our elected leaders. And they must know it, that we are watching them. You see, the political class knows something about us, that we can make noise, that we can bark, but we can't bite. Once we are involved, they know that you will not only bark, you will bite. And that is where we need to get to in this nation if we're going to move forward. There are some people in this nation that have constituted themselves as powers and principalities. And until you and I challenge them by getting involved in one way or the other, they will forever remain powers and principalities. Can I tell you, these powers and principalities became powers and principalities because they did something. Because they did something. And so you can't take it away from them. They've spent money. They've built people. They've organized meetings. They've fed people. You can't take it away from them. While I was contesting, there are certain people you go and meet knowing that once this person buys into me, I have 500 people. Why? Because those 500 people are listening to him. Those are powers and principalities. You in your community, you can become a power, you can become a principality. So we all have a role to play. We can't just fold our hands. As a pastor, I got tired of praying for things that I know government should do. There are certain things I ought not to pray for. It's government's job. Now, we call out for people looking for jobs. I pastor a church not as big as Covenant Christian Center. Pastor Pojitu will pray for people that are looking for jobs. Other pastors will be praying. 10 jobs, thousands of people. Now there will be anointing clash. This will be needless if our nation is working. So the point I'm making is, we cannot afford to be talking about leadership failure anymore. Let's talk about followership failure. So we also have failed our nation. When I was going to politics, I said to myself, I'm going to show that there's a better way of doing politics. That there's a breed without greed. That politics can be done, that you can have contact without having contamination. And that is possible. That you can go in there, be among the wolves, and not behave like the wolves. If politics is dirty, let's be the detergent. Let's clean it up. The truth that every politician knows is that politics is a game of numbers. So they will scare you that you shouldn't be involved. But I stand before you, I was involved. I got phone calls threatening me, but nobody did anything to me. They were just caring. They don't want me to be involved. They don't want you and I to be involved. But we got involved, and I lost the elections, but I'm glad I participated in it. Politics is one of those things that you cannot know until you are involved. When I read what people say I'm sure my brother here will have gotten some experience right now. Because certain things you know, standing as a fan is different from when you enter the pitch. Everybody is a good footballer on the stand. Everybody knows where the ball should be played. Everybody knows who to dribble and who not to dribble. But if you really can, get on the field. So I lost the election, spent a lot of money, but no regret, because things that I know today, you probably don't know them. So when I see people make analysis on Facebook and say stuff, I just smile. Because as I stand, I know the way of politicians. When a man says, I'm still consulting, I know exactly what he has said. Every consultation eventually ends up in saying, my people say, there's no people anywhere. It's just himself. So there are languages that politicians use that you cannot know until you are involved, until you get in there. All right, so let's make up our mind. People, give a lot of reasons why they don't want to join partisan politics. They say it's dirty, I don't have money. Yes, money is involved, but money is not everything. Your good name can do a whole lot. There are people that I met that didn't have money in politics, but they had name in their community. And so when you get to such communities, they go and meet Baba, so and so. Once you meet that Baba, you get to his modest, he doesn't have anything. But once the man coughs, the whole community is coughing. He doesn't have money. So it's not all about money. The little you have can make a lot of impact. Some people say, well, I don't want to contest. You don't have to be a candidate to be in politics. Of course, not everybody will get elected. But the people that will get elected will never get elected if you are not involved. The prof just made a very fantastic presentation. But he can't elect himself. And he cannot be at the polling units. He cannot defend his votes. What a day it would be to see a Prof. Kingsley as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm not campaigning for him. I don't even know the party is going to. But I love his person. All right? And if you love his person, then you can do something in your own community to support him and to be involved and to tell everybody that cares to know that this man is the man that you believe in. So you don't have to contest to be involved. Some people say it will spoil my reputation. That's another lie. Reputation has nothing to do with politics. While I was contesting, I was told that I should, because I was contesting to be a member of the House of Assembly, Lagos State. So while we were preparing for the primaries, some of the leaders called me and said, hey, oh, please, from today, you are no longer from Ogun State. You are now a Lagosian. I said, because, you know, it will be easy for people to relate to you knowing that you are a Lagosian. I said, but I don't have any root in Lagos. So they took me to a man that bears the same name, the same surname. And the man adopted me immediately. So they gave me an house address. So I asked them, what am I supposed to say? They said, well, just tell them that this is where this is the house of your grandfather. This man is your father, but you left Lagos and then you are back in Lagos now to contest. This house has been there for years. My father inherited it from his own father, and I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. So one day we went to see some other elders, and they asked me, they will always ask, so where are you from? And I looked at them straight in the eye. The man that told me gave me that kind of look as in, don't forget what I told you. But I looked at everyone there and I said, I'm from Ogun State, Abeokuta to be precise. From that day, the man knew what I stood for. Anytime they want to do anything that will be dirty, say, hey, don't get Francis involved. He won't do it. So my reputation remained intact. It was the time I was given money to go and share. Every party shared money. In my party, we shared a lot of money. And so I was given certain millions to go and share. And I'm on national TV, so I'm saying the truth. The major parties give money to police every election. All the major parties. INEC collect their own. SSS collect their own. Civil defense collect their own. Area boys collect their own. Now, I had to give money to area boys. Some area boys that were not even in support of my party. But you have to give this money to them because, okay, if you are not in my support, don't work against me. So I was given certain money to go and share. And it was quite a lot of money. And they gave me a list on how to share the money. And then I returned sharing the money exactly the way I was given. And the person was surprised. Sorry for my language. What's wrong with you? This is not how politics is done. You put some for yourself. And the person told me, do you think that was how much they gave me? I've removed my own. But I said to the person, I said, if you send me 10 times, I will do the same thing 10 times. After the election had come and gone, the woman called me and gave me 500,000 naira. Said, I just want to give you this to appreciate your honesty. So politics can be done this way. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm doing this because I also realize that if I mess up, then thousands of people that I'm trying to drag into this same shoe will mess up eventually. So I'm creating a new regime of politicians. I'm creating a new set and a new way of doing politics. So when you go into politics, your reputation will be intact if you want your reputation to be intact. So it's not politics that spoils your name, it is you that spoils your name. Politics by itself does not have the capacity to spoil anybody's name until you choose or you agree for your name to be spoiled. So I can go everywhere and still hold my head high and say to everybody, I did what I was supposed to do, and my reputation remained intact. So, how do you join a political party? Go to the nearest ward and look for the secretariat of any political party you wish to join. Attend their meetings. Find time to do it. And when you attend their meetings, contribute. Buy pure water. You can't imagine the power of pure water. When I joined politics, I was a newcomer. The party I joined was an established party. So to get the flag, to get the ticket of my party was quite very difficult. So I went around and I discovered that in all their meeting points, they used just benches. So I said, oh, good. So I decided I was going to change the benches to plastic chairs. And that was received with a wow. So I said to them, oh, my party people cannot be suffering. You shouldn't be sitting down and your back is aching you. This is the difference I want to make. I'm bringing comfort to all of you. And they received and clapped. And of course, behind the seats was inscribed my name in such a way that it can never be erased. So whenever the meeting is holding, if you are sitting behind someone, you are saying my name perpetually. And you know that your picture is your future. So you keep seeing Francis Adebayo. And I was not surprised that I got a ticket of my party against all odds because I did one or two things. You can also do so. Go to those meetings, buy biscuits, buy minerals. If you want to go a step further, buy minerals, buy malt, pay for someone's school fees, 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira. You are developing your own political muscle. So it's not just enough for you to join a party, contribute to the development of that party. If there's any party that we think is it's a dirty party, they have impunity in that place, it's because we are not there. When we go there with our large numbers, we will clean the place up. See, the truth of the matter is that there's no political party that is bad. No political party that is bad. It's the people there that are bad. After all, we've seen this thing happen. Some people moved from one party to another party and they became saints automatically. So, political party in itself is neutral. So, if we infiltrate some of these established political parties with our good heart, with our good intention, then we can wipe out those people that have constituted themselves as principalities and powers in those places. We can actually take them out. So let's get there. So when you go to such meetings, when I started my campaign, of course, everybody was asking, so what do you want? I said, no, I'm just here to build the party. I'm just here. Because you don't join a political party flashing in everybody's face that you are here to take power from them. There's what is called political sense. And you see, until you get involved in politics, you will not know what political sense is all about. Common sense is different from political sense. There are some questions you don't answer. Not because you don't have an answer to it, but political sense says to you, keep quiet. And you're not lying. So when they told me, I said, not yet. And for those that understand, not yet means I'm coming, but not now. And when I'm coming, it's not defined. So not yet can be, I'll come next year, I'll come 2 years' time, I'll come 10 years' time. So it's not yet, but I was making impact. I was touching lives. I was moving from one place to another. Organized medical outreaches, organized skill acquisitions. So in my constituency, I became a sought-after person. So when I said I was ready to now contest, I already had a battalion of people that I have influenced, people that have been a blessing to, that were ready to do anything for me to get a ticket. So when you join your political party, don't just go there and fold hands. Nation building takes a lot of sacrifice. Nation building is not just what we write on Facebook. In fact, I am tired of Facebook politicians. I'm tired of social media politicians. The truth is, how many of us in this country are on social media? Mama, Tawa, Iya. They are not on social media. They don't know what you are talking about. Let's go to where they have. That is where we can make the impact. Am I discrediting social media? Of course not. I use social media extensively. If not for social media, some people would not have supported my election. Some people saw it in the US, sent money to me via social media. But the real thing is not on social media. So when you get involved, go to the word register, attend their meetings, and then contribute. And then from there, you begin to build something for yourself, not just for yourself, but for the person you want to support, or for the person that you believe should become either the councillor, or the local government chairman, or the governor, or the president. I'm going to try to bring this to a close by saying that every politics is local. Politics is local. We blame the president. We put so much blame on the president when your councillor is not even doing anything. We put so much blame on the governor when the local government chairman is not doing anything. During the last local government elections, I supported 2 councillors. Gave them money, supported them, backed them up, and well, I did like 4, but 2 of them won. And I'm glad they won. So we have regular meetings. What are you doing? What are your projects? You know, we're here to make a difference. So who says as a university, and these 2 guys are university graduates. So who say as a university graduate, you cannot be the counselor of your ward? Be a counselor. And if you're not a counselor, know your counselor. That is part of involvement. It's your right to walk to the local government office and demand for the budget of the local government. When we all start doing that, everybody knows it's your right. The truth is that most of us do not even know our local government chairman. You don't even care who your local government chairman is. Let's start from there. Let our involvement also start from there. Local government elections in Lagos State will be in the next 3 years. We can start developing something from now. You can start creating your own critical mass from now. And from there, we can build something. So I'm here to tell us, it's time for us to take this country back. And the power to take this country back is in your hands. What you do with it is left to you. So it's in our hand to get these things done and ensure that we fulfill what we're supposed to do. My time is running, but I want to quickly say that as citizens and responsible citizens of this country, there are two equations to it, or two sides to it. There is the supply side and the demand side. Of course, the demand side is what the government is always talking about. Pay your tax and other things that we are supposed to do for the government. But the supply side is what we are supposed to do, which is what we have been talking about all this while. Your responsibilities, your duties, and obligations. Now, in my experience, I found out there are four set of people, and I want to quickly run through that. The first set of people or citizens are the people that one way or the other, they have believed that this system have collapsed. So many of them are in Canada today, in the US, and some are trying to run to Libya. But somehow they just believe that Nigeria cannot work. 90% of people that have left this country left because they just believe, I can't make it here. Things cannot work here. I'm a medical doctor. I cannot fulfill my potentials here. So they've left. That's one set of citizens. The other set of citizens are the ones that are discouraged. They've tried to do something. They did something in 2015, but what have I got to show for it right now? So they are discouraged. So they've given up on the nation, and they have resorted to be their own governments. They are not satisfied with what is happening, but they are not ready to make any change anymore. They say to you, I've tried. And when you look around, you will see good people around truly that have tried. They've contested before. They've tried to make things happen. They've screamed. They've shouted. And today, they are not saying anything anymore. They are tired. The third set of people are the ones that are still living here, but they have totally given up. Those are the people that tell you, don't vote. Your vote will not count. And they've already decided who will become. Who are the they? Like Prof asked, who really are the they? The truth of the matter is, we are the they. And if we stand up to make things happen, the small day cannot stand the big day. And we are the big day. But you see, the small day knows something about the big one, the large crowd, that they would not go into it. That's their secret. That's the secret of what Prof referred to as the dinosaurs. That they will talk, but they will not do anything. Can we disappoint them in 2018? Can we disappoint them from now on? I said, can we disappoint them from now on? That we are ready to take our destiny in our hands. That we are tired of what is happening. And in our lifetime, Nigeria will become a great nation. Oh, I don't know about you, but I believe that in my lifetime, my son will not sing the type of song that I sang when I started my presentation. That in my lifetime, Nigeria will move from a third world country to a first world country. And it is possible. It is possible. It is possible. World over, this has been proven that it is possible. It doesn't have to take a whole generation for this to happen. If everybody I'm talking to here today decide to do something and be involved, regardless of the party, it will happen. It is possible. And so in my lifetime, Nigerians would not have to go abroad for any medical vacation or medical tourism. In my lifetime, we'll have education, proper education, good facilities in this nation. In my lifetime. I don't know about you, but in my lifetime. And this is my commitment to this nation. And that's why I believe Pastor Kojo has given me this platform to be able to challenge every one of us. That if we look at ourselves and look at our surroundings and say to yourself that in my lifetime, I want to see Nigeria change. A friend of mine called me from Singapore a few days ago, and he said, Pastor Francis, he was actually crying on the phone. He said he read the history of Singapore, how Singapore broke away from Malaysia with nothing, with absolutely nothing. And the man and the people there made up their mind they will build their country. The building of our country will not start from Aso Rock. The building of our country starts from your houses. The building from our country starts with you. If this country is going to be built, then all of us must be involved. Let's stop casting blames. Let's get our hands in there and get involved. Of course, the last set of people are the people that have chosen to be like me. Citizens that have chosen to say, I am tired of what is happening. I want to get involved. And I do hope that I'm talking to such people today. That after this conference, it's not just going to be another talk shop. That you will go back to your houses, go back to your community, re-strategize about what politics is all about, and then get involved. And then let me tell you, the dinosaurs are getting jittery already. Before I close, I want you to say the things you want to see happen in your lifetime. I've said mine. While you are seated, probably when you say this thing, it will prop you to action. In my lifetime, Nigeria will not go to other countries begging for money anymore. I want you to say what you want Nigeria to be in your life. Say it to yourself. Say it to the person beside you. What nation, what kind of nation do you want? In my own lifetime, my children will be proud of my contribution to the building of this nation. In my lifetime, we will get it right in this nation. In my lifetime, there will be 24 hours power supply. In my lifetime, my children will no longer know what generator is all about. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Now, how do you want me
To talk to what?
Another round of applause, please,
How do you want me to talk?
for Pastor Francis. You know, if you think about the things he said, they're really powerful. For as many of us who are Christians, that political sense thing is actually very critical. So I thought about, just being in a conversation where the topic is actually about how to rig an election, or actually going to the Baba's place to find out who is supposed to be your father. A number of us would have backed out. A number of us might not have engaged to get to that level where they will actually tell us how they intend to rig. But today he has the experience because he's able to actually tell us firsthand. So we need to engage and have political sense. And if you think about, those of us who are Christians, if you think about men like Mordecai, Ezra, Daniel, name it, these guys must have been like that. Because they were embedded in those kingdoms. They must have been involved and not have been as standoffish as a number of us are. So let's read well and get involved.
Entering the political process, and I'll just go back to the panel now. I think that was a good example of someone who entered the system and gave us some of the interesting stories of things that happened to him during his time in that election. What was your takeaway from that?
No, I think it's really very, it's humbling in a sense, because when you think about it, people have to do something, and you're listening to someone who's done something. All right. And Wayme and I were having a conversation much earlier, and I had said to him that involvement is not about winning.
Exactly.
All right. So people start by thinking that I'll only do something if I know that I'm going to win. But actually, it's not about that. All right. It's really about, in the first part, yes, you may win, but then again, you may not. But the most important thing is that you're fulfilling the thing that your heart is calling you to do. And as you start to do that, not for yourself, but for others, even who are coming after you, begin to pave the way, prove the course, make it easier for someone to navigate a little further, simply because you've broken the early ground. And I think he's done that for many people, not just in the mind. And I suppose that when someone hears Pastor Francis Adebayo as a name, all right, and then you now think running for election, it just breaks all kinds of barriers in people's minds. I think it's really, really good, even before I begin to talk about the subject itself.
And I like the fact that he emphasized he did not regret that he lost. Instead, he gained knowledge. He
Absolutely.
has learned about the process. And now he's helped 2 people now enter the system, which is what you said,
Exactly.
will pave a way for other people. Indeed, what did you take away from that?
The 2 things I took away were, one, the issue of complicity. That all of us are guilty for the current state of affairs in our nation. That we're collectively responsible for failure in our nation because of our unwillingness to step out and change the status quo. And then the second thing I took away was the whole issue of performance standards. What are the minimum performance standards that we expect from all levels of government, from the local to the state to the federal? And have we as citizens articulated those minimum standards? What he's done by entering the fray is that he's raised the bar of expectations. At the barest minimum, we expect that you will be educated, that you will be a person of integrity, that we can count on you. And when others come into the fray, they realize this is the basic expectation Nigerians demand of anybody who says, I'm going to run. I think for me, those were the 2 things that struck with me. And I mean, I applaud him for raising the bar. He also challenged us to think about the future we envisage and our own personal responsibility in making that future happen. So is it electricity? Is it, the generator thing? Whatever it is, what can you do about it? What is your own dream for Nigeria, and what is your role in achieving that dream?
I think that should be a hashtag in my lifetime.
In my lifetime. Let's start it. Yes, hashtag in my lifetime.
Because for me, it gives you a sense of ownership.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That then, in my lifetime, if I say this must happen, then I'm actually going to do something to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yes.
Please,
So
let's do that.
Hashtag in my
Hashtag in
lifetime.
my lifetime.
Actually, another good tweetable that he mentioned, if politics is dirty, let's be the detergent. I really love that. But what also hit me was the fact that getting involved, what he did say was that getting involved, as we had said earlier, wasn't just about winning or even winning at all, but getting involved in politics actually is an opportunity for community building.
Yes.
And that is something that hit me, as very interesting, because he explained how he was involved, at the party level, and how he got involved in people's lives. And at the end of the day, if politics is not affecting people positively, then what is it? And you don't have to be in Abuja to do that.
Yes.
But then also, there's also something else. By creating that support, he has strengthened his own voice in the party.
Exactly.
Which allowed him to sponsor others. So the more we get involved, even at that level, and create a pathway, the easier it will be for, another bright generation to come up with their ideas and dream big, and as he said, affirm these, large ideas about what the nation should be and achieve them.
Certainly. And I think another thing that I like, especially like you pointed out when you hear Pastor Francis Adebayo, and a lot of times for people that are people of faith, and the whole concept of politics is dirty. And I like the fact that he mentioned where it's not dirty, the corporate world is dirty. Even in the religious institutions, the things that we are saying is dirty, it happens even in the family structure. But then he gave the example of when they had to tell him to get a new house address and somebody adopted him. And that's some of the things that make us stay out, because we think they're going to ask me to do things that are against my faith, and all you have to do is say no. It's simply a thing of integrity. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't step in. It's stepping and saying no. And what I liked is when you begin to do that, people see that there are honest people still in the world. And that itself changes a mindset.
Two things. If I was to connect the point you just made now with something that Wemi had said about how he had said that every politics is local. So I began to even reflect on the idea of the constituency as a conversation, because everyone has some local point where they're actually making a difference, and they build off that as the basis, as the back of which their voice is resonating, right? But at the end of the day, if you connect that with what he said about reputation,
Exactly.
so lots of people are afraid that because politics is dirty, as is said, therefore my engagement or involvement in it means that my reputation is going to be tarnished. And he captures it excellently when he says that it won't spoil your name. You do it all by yourself.
Exactly.
So if you choose to do things that are untoward, no one actually forced you. You may have been presented with that option, but you chose it. And if people can refrain from doing that, and as indeed they say, raise the bar, then we set a new standard, paving the way for a higher level of behavior, and for people to actually believe that more is expected even of themselves and function at a higher level.
Exactly.
And just building on that, I think the challenge for us is how do we create a generation of individuals who choose to lead. I hate when we call politicians leaders. They have to demonstrate that they're leaders through the acts that they do. And this concept of social capital, you don't wake up one day and say, I want to be in political office. You have to have built that social capital at the community level by what you do, by how you engage, by your community service, by the involvement that you have in the lives of the children in that community. Some of the people we scoff at, who have been around for a long time as godfathers, have paid their dues. They've been paying school fees for people, they've been providing for widows. We have to start in our own context, making a difference and build that social capital so that when we decide to come on the national platform, we're recognized.
Amazing, amazing. So we need to quickly go back to the hall now for the next speaker, but we are learning so much. But after the next speaker, the panel will be right back.
Our next speaker you're live at the platform place, at the Covenant Place, Igomu, Lagos. Our next speaker is Mrs. Shola Salako Ajulo. She will come up after this short video.
Shola Salako Ajulo. Shola is a versatile marketing and media professional with 3 decades of professional interaction with corporate and public brands, which consequently led her to pioneering the Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria, CAFON, an initiative to improve service delivery and consumer rights awareness throughout Nigeria. Shola is a former commissioner with the Lagos State Law Reform Commission and a well-sought-after and respected consultant on consumer rights issues. Currently, she has been appointed to the board of the Lagos Consumer Protection Agency, LASCOPA, by His Excellency, Governor Akinwumi Ambode.
Okay, it's on. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to stand here and speak at such a platform. I know the name of the program is a platform, but it is also a platform. And I want to thank Pastor Poju and Pastor Toyin for considering me worthy to contribute my little quota to the thought process of how do we get our nation out of here. After listening to Pastor Adebayo, I asked him, what else do you want me to come and say here now? How you have said everything. But I guess I will build on what he has said. And being a teacher of sorts, I came with a slide. I hope you don't mind. Okay. And I was going to take Pastor Poju up on this. How come I am the only woman on this panel today? Do I speak for my women in the house, right? So I'm sure he will correct that at the next platform. We will keep an eye on him and make sure he does that. Okay, I'm going to be talking to you a little different.
I'm very politically active, but I'm not a politician. So I'm not going to be talking to you about politics. I'm actually an activist. I'm what you call an advocate. I'm an engager. I get involved, but not necessarily just for politics. But everything that you do as an advocate has an impact in how governance is done. So we're going to be looking at how we as citizens need to get involved in governance. I'm not only just talking politics, but in governance. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, I have a few slides I'll run through, and then we'll get to the meat of the problem. Now, this is our history. To date, we have experienced 16 military and democratic administrations up to right now. And has any of them worked? Please, this is an interactive class. Have they worked? Why? Now, I'll tell you why. One of the main reasons why our government has not worked is that our perception of governance has been corrupted by the military incursion into the process. So we have come to think, because when the military get into power, you can't talk. They do what they like, nobody can challenge them. So by the time they hand over to a civilian administration, they are also acting like, who are you to challenge us? And because we have learned, like Pastor Poju said, we have learned helplessness. We have learned to keep quiet because the military won't allow us to talk. We drifted into this apathy of thinking, even with the democratic process, we are not supposed to talk. And that's why they have not worked, because we have not done what we are supposed to do. So while in theory, we are practicing what we call the democracy, but in principle, I think what we're practicing is a militocracy. Our democracy is still, there's still too much strain of military rulership that has infected our democracy. And so, can you look at the words I have there on that screen? Aren't those the typical adjectives we associate with leadership in Nigeria? There's impunity. They're authoritarian. They're oppressive. They are unaccountable. Privileged class. You can't question them. Rabid partisanship. Cluelessness. These are adjectives we use to describe our leadership in Nigeria, right? Now, this is the, do you identify yourself here? Do you identify yourself here? Are you frustrated? Are you oppressed? Are you limited? Angry youth? Are you hungry? Unsafe? Now, this is what followership experiences. This is how we feel. The first things I put on the screen is how we see the people in leadership. How do we correct all of these things? Now, the relationship between leadership and followership is the focus of my short presentation. The relationship between leadership and followership. There is a disconnect between leadership and followership. Am I right? Followers are now sitting, they feel very irrelevant, and so there's apathy in the land. And that's the reason I was watching your reaction to the two speakers that were before me. And there were times when they said some things that, in the days when we were in the bottle and we were called gin, you know, but our nugo, tanje gin. We would have jumped, stood on our chair, and we are ready to go. But I checked the reaction. In fact, when somebody said, go and ask for the budget of your local government, everybody said, That's apathy. Because we have learned that they won't give you, or you will not get it. And because of that learned helplessness, we think there's nothing we can do about it. That's not true. There's so much we can do about it. Leadership is taking advantage of this, your learned helplessness. That disinterest is what is keeping our leadership the way they are. They are the way they are because we are the way we are. If we stop being the way we are, they will not have any choice but to be different. And I'm going to prove that to you this morning. They are the way they are because we allow them. to be the way they are because we've just assumed there's nothing we can do. How can just the sheer number of people in this auditorium right now, if we are all on one page and we decide we want to make something happen, can't we make it happen? So the problem is that we're not on one page. Yes or no? Because some of us feel, is it worth the trouble? Some of us feel, we have tried it before, it didn't work. And because of that, everybody is sitting down and thinking, God will send an angel who will come and become the president of this Nigeria and just wave his wand, and everything will be fine. I hate to burst your bubble. No angel is coming from anywhere. We are the ones who will make that change. I'll show you how. So to prevent the followership from dismantling their house of cards, which they are living on, they distract us. Partisanship. You know, I'm very active on Facebook. People who know me know that. And I don't know the number of wars I fight just because I express an opinion that is not popular. And it is always because she's APC, I am PDP, you are whatever. And because of that, we don't listen to ourselves. We're no longer listening to ourselves. And you know what I find very interesting about this is that these guys, when it gets to the place where they are sharing this loot, there is no PDP or APC. There is none. I'm telling you because I've worked in the corridors of power. I understand what I'm saying. So it is actually us against them. But they sell us the dummy of thinking, it's my party. Once my party is in place, maybe it will reach me. So because of that, you are defending the indefensible. Simply because you feel that person is my enemy. Because he's of another party. It's a distraction. Ethnicity. It's because he's Igbo, that's why they put him in jail. It's because he's Yoruba. Meanwhile, all those people stole your money. But once they capture your one person, the first thing you hear is, why is it not the APC person they capture? Why don't you let them capture this PDP person first? So that when another party comes in, it will capture the APC one. Because there will be precedence. But no, we'll be defending people who have taken your commonwealth and have stacked it in places and using it to train their own children. Because they say, I'm your brother. I remember one time when one of them in this, I don't want to mention their names, one of them in the Senate went to some tribunal. And that was the day he remembered it was Igbo. Wore the Igbo traditional outfit and showed up there. He didn't have to say anything. Of course, his tribesmen on social media went wild. They are persecuting our son. What has your son done for you? So please, note today, all this ethnic division is a distraction. And it is a political tool that is being used against us as a nation. They have plenty in their arsenal, though. There's religion, Christian. We have a crisis on our hands. We have Nigerians being slaughtered daily for stupid reasons. Instead of all of us to come together and fight what is causing that slaughter, we've started to make it, they are slaughtering Christians. No, they are slaughtering Muslims. So please, if it was Muslims they slaughter, are they not human beings? Are they not Nigerians? So why is it only when they slaughter Christians that the church will stand up? Why have we never spoken up for when they slaughter the Muslims? Are they not Nigerians? Are they not, did God not create them? So you understand that all of these things that we agree with them to help them spread, they're all distractions. To take our eyes away from the real McCoy. The real McCoy is the power that translates to money. Then they have the distraction of drama. Look, Nigeria is the drama capital of the whole world. Every week is 1 week, one drama. And once they begin that drama, we all get involved in it. We take sides. We become actors with them. So while we are busy debating whether somebody should jump out of a car or not, by the time they close the door and they share the loot, it won't matter whether he jumped out or not, but we are still fighting each other on the outside. And somebody is saying because he jumped out of a car, he's a hero. If that is the standard of our hero in Nigeria, where our standards are in the gutter. Then we have all kinds of frivolities. Every day we are quarreling with each other over nothing. Instead of focusing on the real issue. Governance is not a joke. Governance is serious business. But they distract us so that we can leave them to do what they need to do or what they are used to doing. And in the end, we are the worst for it. Is that how we want to continue? We need to ask ourselves a question. Now, I know that my fellow members of the media corps will take me up on this, but I'm here to speak the truth. I'm a media practitioner, but the media is a major enabler of this disconnect. The media they amplify these distractions that throws all of us into a frenzy. Meanwhile, their role in a democracy, because they have a primary role, they have a very constitutionally protected role, is to set the agenda for good governance. So it is the media that should be asking the real questions so that the followers can have something to take to their, whoever it is that is in office and demand from them. But the media will splash, this one jumps out of a car, that's the headline. In a nation where there is no light, in a nation where hospitals don't work, in a nation where schools don't exist because people just go and spend time in a place that they don't learn nothing. That's what is on our headlines every day. And we said the media is one of our major problems in Nigeria. And I am calling on my fellow media practitioners. It is time to stop it. We need to stop buying their, don't let me use the word. This is national television. So what must we do? I didn't say that. I may mean it. What do we need to do? What we need to do is what I call citizen engagement. Let me just read it from here, because I can't see too far into. Okay, right. I looked up the meaning of citizen engagement, and one meaning from the UN Public Administration's glossary says it implies the involvement. I underlined some words. I told you I'm a teacher of sorts. It implies the involvement of citizens in a wide range of policy-making activities. Please, whether somebody jumped from a car or not, is that a policy-making activity? So why do you get involved in it? Why do you bother? Why do you take the bait? If they throw those things at us severally and we refuse to catch the bait, will they not stop throwing it? But they know us now. The president says you are an angry youth. Everybody goes crazy. Oh, lazy. Okay, he says you are a lazy youth. You go mad. My question to you, if you don't know how to turn people's crap against them, you will always be a victim. Because if I were you, I am no longer a youth, so I didn't feel he was talking about me. But if I was a youth, my question to him would be, you've been president for 3 years, sir. What have you done to change this narrative that you are identifying? If you ask him that question, then he will be the one that is looking like the fool. And it won't be you. But no, everybody goes wild. I am not a crazy youth. I'm not a lazy youth. I am not a this. I am not a that. 2 weeks down the line, has it not passed? Has it not passed? They know you. They know you. They know you don't have the capacity to engage and stay engaged. So they throw the thing at you, you will shout, and then something will distract you again. I think it was Big Brother Nigeria that distracted you. And you have moved on to something else. Has anything changed? So what was the purpose of that anger? I need young people in Nigeria to understand that anger is a motivating force given to you by God to push you to make a change, to push you to be different, to do something about things you don't like. It's not just to express yourself on social media and think you have done everything, you have said what you feel like saying. Everybody feels, once I vituperate on social media, I have contributed my own. You haven't done nothing, Jack. So what is citizen engagement? You saw that first one? Implies the involvement of citizens in a wide range of policy-making activities in order to do what? Orient government programs towards community needs. If you know that that's what citizen engagement is, then tell yourself from today, I will not engage in any of this discussion unless it has to do with policy activities. Because that is one that can make a difference that would impact your life. All these other ones, they're just drama. And you are just being carried away by their script. Second, okay, this one is really interesting. Civic engagement or civic participation, according to the American Psychological Association, is individual and collective. It didn't just say just something. It says it's individual. That means each and every one of us has a role to play here. And then we can play that role either by ourselves or we pull together and we become a collective force that takes actions designed to identify and address issues of public concern. My question this morning, do we have issues of public concern in Nigeria? We have plenty. Okay, so that means we have a role. That means there's something we can do to make this difference. Third, I like to look for plenty definitions so that you get the full rounded understanding of what citizen engagement is. Now, this one, what interests me about this one is it proves to me that citizen engagement or citizen participation is a process which provides private individuals an opportunity to influence public decisions and has long been a component of the democratic decision-making process. We say we have been practicing democracy for how many years now? Consistently now for almost 20 years. How often have you been involved in the process of making policies in this country? How many times have they consulted you before they pass a bill in the National Assembly? They'll just say there's public hearing and it is in Abuja. So it is people who can afford it that can go there. Meanwhile, there are processes in which they can get your participation in that decision before it gets to that level. How often does your representative come to hold town hall meetings in his constituency? Have you ever attended one before? Me, I've attended one before. In Ikeja, local government to be precise. And I was so irritated that day. I sent word to my representative that this crap that you did was not a consultation meeting. Because he knew he came with his own people. In fact, they came in Ankara, they had Ashwebi. So immediately you know that everybody who was sitting in that place were not really a true representation of the constituency. He brought his own crowd. He just held it in our local government area so that he can go on record that he held something. And they knew, he already briefed them what to say. And they said what they needed to say. And he took it back to Abuja and said, this is what my constituency said. And the rest of us are asleep at home thinking, then one morning they'll pass that law, you will start shouting. Where were you when the process was going on? Where were you? I already asked you that question, and you say we have issues. We'll get back to those issues, but let's quickly go, because I have a lot to say, and I don't want to waste my time. Now, that's the one I've done, okay. Why do we need to get involved? We need to get involved, number one, because good governance and development is a process. It is process-driven. If you miss a step, you will pay for it. So what we're going through now is pain that is brought upon us because we have missed different steps towards development. And because we have not done anything for it, we are paying the price for those different steps today. One day, I was watching CNN, and I think the Minister for Energy of Dubai was on air. And he was talking about the fact that they anticipate that by it was many years ago, he said by 2020 or so, their environment will require up to like 40,000 megawatts of electricity. So this was probably maybe like in 2010. They had started to invest in building the infrastructure to take care of their need in 2020. They started that process in 2010. Now, what that tells me is that There are no shortcuts to development. None. Let's stop wasting our time. We feel, oh, maybe when we change this government and bring another one in, all those things will start to work. It will not start to work. The person who's going to come and take over from them will have to start correcting and repairing, and that's what's going to happen. Because what we should look at, my opinion is, if we want to have uninterrupted power supply in 2023, we should have started investing in electricity since 2013. It will take that long to get us to the point where we will get to that future and will not be in this present. So there are no shortcuts to it. That's why we need to get involved. Secondly, I've already told you that. We have had 16 administrations since independence. So that means we have changed government. We are tired of changing. But nothing has changed. What has been consistent, constant, through all those 16 administrations? We the people. We have been the constant K in 16 administrations. So let me ask the question. If I change something, I do something a particular way, change it, and I don't see a different result, shouldn't I go and query my beginning? What it tells me is that we, just like Pastor Adebayo said, we, the followers, are the problem. It's not just the leadership. It's the followership, because we are the constant in these different administrations. Maybe if we change the way we behave in this administration or the next one, maybe we'll see a difference. But if we keep acting the way we've been acting for 16 administrations back, there's not going to be any change in the 17th. Trust me. Okay, nobody agrees with me on that one. Okay. So, if we don't change, nothing is going to change. So we, the people, are the ones who need to change. We need to stop this deception. I'm telling you why you need to get involved. I say I have not contested for election before, but I have been a party supporter of quite a few candidates. I've worked for a few candidates to win elections. We've lost some, we've won some, we've lost some. But I have experience in this thing. And let me tell you what. When somebody wants to contest for an election, my brother just told you the story. You get into that environment, you start doing something for them, you start solving problems. I remember when one governor wanted to go and ambush his people. He found that they didn't have water in that town. So he hired water trucks that started distributing water. And then he became the Messiah because he provided water. Now, imagine this. Let's imagine that we had citizens that were engaged in that local government, in that city, who understood that this is the responsibility that government needs to provide for us. And then you engage government on it. You organize yourselves. You go after them and demand to do something about this. You make a difference. Let's say in engaging that local government at that time, you get them to at least begin the process of providing water. This drama king that came to now became their governor. When he brings his truck of water, who will he give it to? Who will he give it to? See, this is what is enabling this politics that lacks ideology. That is what enables it. Because when somebody wants to go into politics, he doesn't have to have an idea. He doesn't have to have a vision. All he needs to have is some money to provide for some people. And then he becomes a party leader. And before you know it, he becomes a candidate. And before you know it, he becomes the elected officer. And when he now becomes elected officer, you are expecting him to do something he didn't have at the beginning. But you are too distracted. You are too distracted. What we need to do, why we need to get involved, is we need to make whoever is sitting in government right now, put pressure on him to provide those things that need to be provided. Because once we do that, then we remove the shocks from the opportunists who goes into government. Because if our schools are working well, nobody needs to pay your child's school fees. If the hospitals are working well, nobody used to pay your hospital bills. So if he doesn't have all of those things to give you, then he has to now sit down and think up real development issues. That's why we can no longer fold our arms. I'm not even talking about you getting involved in, I'm talking about you getting involved in what we call community organizing, community engagement. We need to rise up and make the people who sit in positions of authority, make them do the work we sent them there to do. You think once you have put them in there, they will be nice. And then they will know that that's what you send them there to go and do, so they will do it. Joke. It's not even them. It's the people who surround them who will not make it possible for them to see you. Unless you get up and you too become one of those people who surround them. So, the deception is what is keeping our politics in the gutter. It's what is making it difficult for people with capacity, intellectual capacity to lead, to get in there. Because the ones who lack things upstairs have understood the game. That's why they play the politics of poverty. They will never let you get better. So that when next they want to come, they will say, I am your Messiah. I provided this for you. Therefore, you should vote for me. I will never understand how we will look. Somebody will tell me he's competing for an office, and he will say, I will pay your salaries. What crap? So a governor pays salaries. That is a reason to vote him into government. Why? Because the empty-headed previous governor he didn't have enough mental capacity to understand how to do financial engineering to make sure salaries are paid. So this one that has little financial engineering that makes it happen, we now be touting it as a badge. Because we allow opportunists, people who don't have the capacity. It is only in Nigeria that our worst lead our best. It is only here that people who should be following after you because of your capacity, you are the ones going to beg them. Because we are too involved in our lives. I'm coming for you, just wait. So what we need to do, we need to put an end to stomach infrastructure. And it's not a politician that's going to put an end to it. It is not. It is you and I, we the people, citizens who stand up and say, no. Look, in my environment, we have a very active landlords association. And I'm very active there. I will tell you a story about our landlords association. We live in a close, it's a small estate. And because of that, every time Lagos State is fixing roads, they will tell us our roads are not thoroughfare, because our estate is like a close. So it's not a thoroughfare. So they don't allow, they will say, oh, we have to go and fix other roads. We can't come and fix your own. For 2 years, I had a program on TV, on Lagos television, and the head of the public works used to come to talk about the projects that they fixed. For 2 years, every time he came on that show, after he has explained all the good things he has done in Lagos, I'll look at him and say, but you have not fixed my road. I said it for 2 years. Believe me, just before he left, because I kept on saying it to him every day on air. Just before he left, they just appeared at my road. They tarred my road. Today, my road, the road to my house, is tarred. Why? Because I stayed with him. I kept on saying it in his ears. And he knows me that I'm an influencer. If I say that their party is wrong, their party is wrong. So they quickly went and fixed my road. So my road to my house is fixed. But there are 2 roads in my estate that are not fixed. And we have talked to everybody, they won't listen. So we decided to do self-help. Within the estate, we raised money. As I'm speaking right now, we have almost finished tarring one of the roads, interlocking tiles, whatever. We are interlocking the road as I speak by our own self-help. But let me tell you what happened. Our secretary, she's watching now, our secretary managed to go to the local government office and saw that, oh, today is visiting day for the local government chairman. So she fills a form to say, I want to see him. So she sees him and tells him, this is what we're doing. We're in your constituency. You don't even know that we're doing this. We have almost finished tarring a full road by ourselves. My people, trust me, by 2 days, local government chairman, local government, for all the officers of local government had landed in my estate to come and see what we have done. I said, you people have done all of this. Okay, you know what? We will now come and do the balance. Me, I don't care. If they want to take the glory for doing all of it, it's okay. Let them just fix everything for me so that my car will not spoil. But what I'm saying to you is that they took notice of us because we began to do something that they know is an indictment to them. You don't want to do anything. You want to be telling them, you should do this, you should do this. Shame them by doing some things that they are supposed to do. So that when they know that if they don't come and do that road, they can never come and campaign in our estate again. Ever. So they quickly borrowed themselves some brain. And decided to come and be a part of it. You know why? My brother already told you. Politics is a game of numbers. If you control the numbers, they will look for you. But you can't control that numbers if you're not making an impact in the society or in the community in which you live. Who will listen to you? This last local government election, I started supporting a guy who was an MIT graduate. I was very impressed by the fact that somebody who was an MIT graduate wanted to be the local government chairman on another party. I was just impressed by him. He came to our estate meeting to sell us his manifesto. So I told him, I will support you. The minute I put my support on Facebook, the party that I normally would support, they went into a frenzy. They started reporting me to everybody. She's doing anti-party thing. I said, I'm not your party member. I just align with you because I believe in the way you do some things. So anyway, immediately they asked me. I said, look, this guy thought we were important enough for him to come and meet us on a Saturday morning. Your own candidate has not deemed it fit to show up at our door because he assumes we will always win that election. So I'm supporting who came to tell me his manifesto. The next week, their own candidate showed up. I'm just telling you how easy it is to get involved. It's so easy. You just need to take a stand. So when we do, we elevate the level of political engagement. Now, this is one of the reasons why you need to get involved. This is what your constitution says. And I'm going to talk a lot to you about constitution this morning. It is your duty as a citizen of Nigeria. This is what the Constitution says you should do. Chapter 2, Section 24 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 says, it shall be the duty of every citizen. Are you a citizen of Nigeria? Yes. I don't think so. I'm going to prove to you that you are not. Just wait. It says, D, it is your duty to make positive and useful contribution to the advancement, progress, and well-being of your nation. Is that what it says? Of where? The community where you live. That is your Jerusalem. That is your first port of call. Before you start elevating your go for the state or the federal or whatever, start where you live. Do they know you? Let me tell you. We live in environments where we don't know each other. You don't know your next door neighbor. Come to Ekiti. Let me tell you, because I did some politics in Ekiti. Every polling unit in Ekiti, everybody who's registered on that polling unit is known to the other person. So in such an environment, that kind of politics rigging can never happen. Because when they bring those people to show up, they will say, Omolebo Niwo. Because they are very engaged. They are very engaged. They know each other. And they didn't get to know each other for politics reasons. They got to know each other because they have to come together to do vigilante. They have to come together to provide one thing or the other for themselves. See, it is only us, the middle class, and the young people who don't know how to organize. The people we look down on and say that they are the masses, they are better organized than you people are. And let me tell you, that is the reason why every politician goes for them. Because he knows he will get their numbers. They will look at you. My friend who is contesting an election somewhere once told me, these your friends that are always talking, they are what do you call them? DSTV constituents. On the day of election, they sit, they put their feet forward, drink beer, and are watching what's that, the championship or whatever. He said, why should I go and bother to sell myself to them? They are not going to come and vote. They won't organize. But when you go to those people, your drivers, they know how to organize themselves. They do. Oh my God, I have just 8 minutes and I've not even said anything. So it's your duty. Let's rush through it. How do we get involved? Stop waiting for a Messiah. There is no Messiah political party. There is nobody who's coming to save Nigeria. It is you and I. We are the ones who have been missing in the governance process. We, the people, we are the ones who have not engaged. Once we engage, no matter how crazy that politician or that leader is, he will work for you. See, in America, the minute they voted in President Trump, and he started doing something that they felt was against their constitution, see how the people started to engage him. Because those are people who are engaged. They know that the only reason why we have enjoyed this good governance is because we have been involved. So we have to keep staying involved to make sure this person doesn't change what we are used to. So, stay engaged. Your civic duty does not begin and end when you get your PVC and you vote. No. It starts after you have voted. Country first. No matter who you voted for in an election, once a winner is declared, all of us have a responsibility to set aside our partisanship and engage that leader. I supported President Buhari during the election. And I questioned him. When I questioned him, my other party member, the other people will say, Shebi, you are the ones who put it. I say, please keep quiet. I don't care whether we voted him or not. That is past. What is important to me right now is that he's the leader of this country, and this is what is expected of him. And if he's not getting it done, I will speak up. Partisanship should not trump patriotism. The problem is that we are not patriots. That's why partisanship is more important to us than patriotism. We need to stop that. That is how you get involved. Stop. You can campaign when it's campaign time. Support whoever you want to support. But as soon as somebody is declared winner, put your partisanship aside and challenge him. Challenge him. Don't say because I voted him, let them not say I'm the one who is trying to pull him down. I voted him for a purpose. If he's not doing that thing, then I will challenge him and ask him, why did I put you there? You need, okay, I think I missed, okay, right. You need to organize. For citizen engagement to succeed, we need to organize. Not this thing we do, unplanned, emotional, spontaneous protests and outbursts. We need to be engaged. It is a contact sport. Organized intellectual engagement is not easy to be defeated. But once they know we can get angry 3 days, we are tired of the anger, nothing will change. But once they know you are organized and you are not going to move, you force them to do what you have sent them to do. That is how you make government accountable. You need to organize around your expertise, around your interests, and around your community. What do you enjoy doing? Or what matters to you? Me. Consumer protection is what I live for now. I started it by mistake 14 years ago, about 14 years ago. It was by mistake I got into it. But today, that's all I do. And I have spent my money, my energy, everything. Nobody funds it. I fund it myself, but I'm still doing it. And I can see that from when we started and now, there's more awareness. People now know they have rights. When they pay for goods, they should expect value. That has improved your standard of living. That has made your life a little better. That has helped you to keep money in your pocket. So will you tell me I'm not making a difference? And I'm just one person. What do you care about that much? Is it power? Is it healthcare? Is it something? Stand up and do something about it. Engage everybody about it. Talk about it. Push for it. Organize meetings. That's how you stay engaged. This is how you organize. I've already said about many of these things, so let's just move on. You need to attend meetings. You already said it. You cannot, citizen engagement is a contact sport. You don't do it on Facebook. You don't do it on Twitter. When you have finished your Twitter angle, get into the street. Sit with the next person next to you. Talk to your neighbor. Knock his door. Don't you care about this transformer that's not working? What can we do about it? Pull yourselves together. Go do something about it. Because if you don't do something about it, nobody's going to do anything about it. And you will continue to be frustrated. And then they will come and give you for a temporary reprieve. Then you go and vote for them. After you have voted for them, you voted for them, you are no longer important until another 4 years. Is that how we want to continue? Okay, I think we should just move past this point. Now, I want us to talk about the Constitution before I leave. For Nigeria to win, the only way out is citizen engagement. I've said all this thing, you must stay the course, you must weigh the course. I'm trying to build to something here. Okay, I said I was going to talk to the middle class. I think the middle class is the problem that Nigeria has. Believe me, because our Turenchi is too much. We are too, everybody is trying to be in a particular class. We have started to build our own nation. When I was young, the child of the driver, of the PAMSEC, of the lawyer, we all went to the same school. The minute, here now, even the child of the driver wants to go to private school. We, the ones who have a little money, we don't want our children to rub shoulders with those dirty children down the street. So we send them to all these highbrow schools. When what we should have done was, the minute the standard started dropping, we were supposed to have engaged the government and say, why is this standard dropping? My mom was not very educated. She's passed on now. She only had primary school education. But all through every school we ever went to, my mother attended every parent-teachers association meeting. She went to that school to ask questions about what is going on with how they are training us and what they are doing with us. They don't do anything, they don't mess up with me because they know once they do anything that doesn't look like it should be, my mother is in that school by the next morning. She was an engaged mother. Now, but she didn't engage the way our new set of bourgeoisie engage now. If a teacher punishes a child, the parent goes there with a policeman to go and beat up the child. And you want Nigeria to work. It won't work. In my days, if the teacher beats me, my mother will, I won't dare tell her. Because if I get home, she beat me. Say, how many people are in your class? I say, we're about 25. And you are the only one they beat. Okay, I will go with you tomorrow. When we get to school, my mom will not ask, what did she do? He will tell the teacher, oh, she told me you beat her. Please, beat her once again. Because she's not the only one in this class. So how is she the only one you beat? So because of that, I did right. Because I didn't want my mother to come and add to my punishment. But now, we parents, we pay for exam malpractice. We help our children to pass an exam. And we think we are doing ourselves. Or we are doing the government. We are doing ourselves. We, the middle class, are the ones who are causing this trouble. Let me tell you why. Because we are the ones who even have a little semblance of power in terms of money to make a difference. But because we refuse to get involved, we leave the really low Nigerian exposed to these people, and they don't have anybody to tell them what is right or wrong. We know what is right or wrong, and yet we are the ones who don't do anything about it. I think it's time that we get off our comfort zone and stop living in this bubble that we are creating for ourselves. That bubble will burst. And when it bursts, before the angry masses reach the politician in Abuja, they have already destroyed your home first. Because you are the one closest to them. So that's why you cannot fold your arms anymore. You have to get involved to make sure that the politician makes things work for these people so that they can let you live in peace. So where is the middle class? We need to find ourselves. Now I want to talk to the young people. Please, if you are below 30 here, can I see your hand? You are below 30, under 30. Okay. I just want to tell you that all this thing that's going on is your future that they are playing with, it's not mine. I am in the second half, in a game of 90 minutes. I have stepped into second half now. So that means the game will soon be over. We're not very soon, but soon. But you just started the game. And if you allow people like me to mess up the game for you, you will still have a long time. Our time is almost gone. All the dinosaurs, like Prof called them, their time is almost gone. But they are wasting your own life. It's your future that they are playing with. And that's why you need to get up. Everybody thinks it's a joke. You know, I see all kinds of wittiness online. Very interesting. I find it, I will sit there and laugh. Very witty. But that wittiness, this thing is not a joke, my brother. It's not a joke, my sister. It's not about wittiness. It's your life that they are playing with. And you are helping them to play with it by being witty. Witty will not make the next 10 years better for you. So you need to get serious and let them know you are serious. Because you are not serious right now. Oh, I have abused you. I'm sorry. Before you get angry with me on Twitter, I am very sorry. But I'm just telling you the truth. They don't think you are serious. They don't take you seriously. And if they don't take you seriously, they will not do anything to change your situation. So you need to get up and show them you are serious. And I'm not saying get a PVC. PVC is too far away. Get involved now. When you leave this place, go to your local environment. Start to organize. Start to get your people together. Pull a group together. Decide what you want to address. Face that thing. Address it. By the time you do the first one, the second one, the third one, they know you are serious. Until then, Twitter won't help you. And you know what's interesting? You already know how to do it. I heard that for the BBN, this Big Brother Niger, there was 170 million votes from Nigerians for the winner to win. And those votes didn't just come. You know what people did? People didn't know who these people were. They were so moved enough that they formed Team Lolu, Team Miracle, Team CC or BBB or whatever her name is. And people will go, these are young people. They make t-shirts for themselves. Every Saturday they will go into the markets and go and be campaigning for people to vote for somebody in BBN house who, when he makes the money, it will not make any difference in your life. And you will not go and organize yourself to follow a man like this man if he says that's what he wants to do. And you are saying they shouldn't call you lazy. You are acting like lazy people, man. You are acting like lazy people. Get up. Get yourself together. If you work Monday to Friday, Saturday is a free day. Get yourself together. Get young people in your area. Go and start talking to people in your area, telling them about what they should be standing up for when it is time to vote. If you have a candidate, you have queried him, you have questioned him, and you believe in him, start selling him. And stop sitting down and thinking somebody is going to come and make it happen for you. Nobody will do it if you don't get up. Get up. Okay, I'm rounding up now. Please, this picture I have on the screen, who is that? It's a Nigerian. Are you sure? What makes him a Nigerian? Is it his ethnicity? Is it his religion? Is it his partisanship? Is it is the color, okay, the flag? Okay, now let me tell you what makes him a Nigerian. That's why I said to you, you need to decide for yourself today whether you are a Nigerian or not. Your Nigerian constitution. Please, how many people in this hall has ever opened that constitution to read it? Please, if you have, stand up. Okay, that's more than half of this hall. Clap for yourselves. You are Nigerians. Because let me tell you what makes you a Nigerian. Let me tell you what makes you a Nigerian. You are not a Nigerian because you were born here. You are not a Nigerian because you speak Igbo, Hausa, Igbo, Fufude, whatever language you say. You are a Nigerian because the Constitution says you are. This Constitution, I copied the part of it that is interesting to me, and I brought it here. That's chapter 2. This Constitution is what defines a Nigerian. And I'm going to tell you something today. Because I'm in a church environment, I will say this with all carefulness because I've asked the Lord to help me. I'll tell you 2 stories. I go to Daystar. That's my church. And for 10 years, we love our pastor. For 10 years, in my church, it is standard practice that as soon as we finish praise worship, we will pray for Nigeria. For 10 years, I've been a part of that church. And every Sunday, every Wednesday, I've been praying for Nigeria. So there was this Sunday in 2014. I'm telling you a very real story. And I'm trusting God to help everybody to catch what I'm about to say. We finished praise worship. And they said, pray for Nigeria. And I had a conversation with Jesus that day. I'm serious. I said to him, I said, Lord, me, I'm not going to pray. I'm tired of praying for Nigeria. 10 years. I know you. You don't take that long to do something. It doesn't take you that long. We have been praying night vigil, whatever, we prayed. It doesn't take you this long. So if you have not done anything by now, it means you don't want to do it. So why should I be praying? I can't be wasting my time. And I didn't pray. I didn't pray. But before the end of that service, the Lord spoke to me. The pastor came and started preaching about prayer of agreement. How it is that when you're in agreement on something, it can happen. So after the service, I was talking to one of my bro, and I was telling her that this is what I told God. Me, I wasn't going to pray. So the Lord asked me. He said, which prayer do you want me to answer? He said, because is it the prayer that you people say with your mouth, or the one that is in your heart? He said, because I see the two, and they are not in agreement. He said, you say you want good governance. You want a country that works. Everybody in his heart, when he's praying, Lord, let good governance happen, he's thinking, good governance to him means, let them put my person in there so that I can get my own part of the deal. That is what is in the heart of most of you. So I'm looking at the two prayers, and I'm wondering which one do you want me to answer? The man who is praying, let them not remove this man from this position so that I can make money. Or the one that is saying, Lord, give us good governance. Lord, give us this thing. I had to apologize. I said, Lord, I'm sorry, because we only hear what people say with their mouths. We don't know what is in their hearts. And the reason why our hearts are in different places is because we don't have anything that unifies us as a nation. Our focus is not on the same thing. When Pastor Poju told me to come and speak at this platform, I asked him, I said, me? He said, yes. So I went to the Lord, I said, I don't have anything to say, because I feel I do my own part. I'm doing my own part. I don't have anything to say to the whole of this country. What do you want to say? Just yesterday, the Spirit of God told me that what makes Nigeria, Nigeria is this constitution. He said, you people wrote the constitution and said this is who we want to be. It's a protocol. You have written it. I will never do anything for you outside of this constitution. If there's anything, please wait. If there's anything inside this constitution that you don't like, gather yourselves together and change it. But if you don't follow this thing, you will pray from now. You say you are looking for the solution of Nigeria in the Bible. You say it's not there. It is here. You are looking for it in the Quran. It's not there. It is here. Your constitution is what defines you as a nation. And if you don't go and know what is inside it and live by it and walk by it, you will pray from now till Jesus comes. Nigeria will not be different. You know why? I'm rounding up. Let me tell you why. I went to that constitution and I read chapter 2. Chapter 2 of the Nigerian constitution has everything that we all desire for this nation. It defines who we are. It defines how we should be treated. It defines what government should do, how government policy should be done. It defines everything. But plus leader, plus follower, none of us has put this as the center of our purpose as a nation. So because it is not the center, that is the reason why we are not united. Imagine if all of us align ourselves with what the Constitution says about us. The leader is doing what the Constitution says he should do. The follower is doing what the Constitution says he should do. will there be a conflict? Because now, I told my sister when I said, look, we don't need any political manifesto from any politician. Let me read some part of it for you. I'm winding up. This is my last point. The Constitution says sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government, through this Constitution, derives all its powers and authority. So when I challenge the local government chairman and he tells me crap, I'll tell him, hello, listen. This power that you are holding it in trust for me. And if he also knows that he's holding that power in trust for me, will he not do what should please me? That's how government works. That's how it works. This Constitution guarantees that government's policy must ensure that the concentration of wealth is not in a small group of people. But because the people in leadership right now may not even read the Constitution, they don't abide by it, they don't walk by it. That's why we're where we are. We citizens don't read the Constitution, we don't know what we should demand from government, we don't know how we should behave. That's why we're here. If this nation will take this Constitution and domesticate it and take it down to primary school, start teaching children. American children learn about their Constitution. They learn about their Constitution from when they are in kindergarten. Start teaching children what the Constitution says they are, who they are by the Constitution. Now, let me tell you the DNA of Nigeria, and I close. This is the DNA of Nigeria. That's Nigeria's DNA, as defined by this Constitution. It says this shall be the core ethic of Nigeria: discipline, integrity, dignity of labor, social justice, religious tolerance, self-reliance, and patriotism. Please, which of these qualities is evil? Which one? Now, if we start teaching our children from kindergarten, it is included in our curriculum. It is narrated to us in the media. It is put everywhere. If we start doing that, in 2 years, there will be a difference in the Nigerian perception and Nigerian psyche. Just by doing what we agreed. This is our covenant. This is our covenant. So please, the Lord says I should tell you people, stop bothering him. Stop bothering him. Do what you have said. He will back you up as much as you abide by what is written in this protocol. And that is how you will change your nation. That is what the word of God is. On that note, I thank you.
I hope we know we don't have to look into the national bookshops or anything to find the Constitution. It's actually available online. So it should be having like millions of downloads now, I'm hoping.